When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Hi everyone. In this video, we'll go through important chapters and important topics that we can study. I've created 3 packages, 60 marks, 70 marks and 80 marks. We will go through a package of 60 marks first. Now this does not include calculus and trigonometry. So these are the list of chapters that we can prepare. Now this is just one of my recommendations. You can choose the chapters based on your comfort and ease. This is just one of my ideas. So we could take partial fraction, which is a simple chapter, straightforward problems. You get a 5 marker here. And then you could go with the parabola. You have 2 1 markers and 1 2 marker. Again, this is straightforward. There is a complete playlist on parabola, and there is a one-shot revision video also. So in one shot, you can understand the entire chapter. Then third one is mathematical logic. So it is for 6 marks, 1 marker and 5 marker. Again, 5 marker is simple, 1 marker is also simple. The fourth chapter is linear programming. So you will get 1 5 marker problem here. This is also straightforward. Fifth one is learning curve. Now this is also straightforward. You will get 1 5 marker problem. Then coming to matrices, the highest scoring chapter, 13 marks, 3 1 markers, 1 2 marker, 1 3 marker and 1 5 marker. So in all the sections, you have problems related to matrices. Since this is a high scoring, it's better to prepare this thoroughly. Now here also you get a 5 marker problem. The reason I put this asterisk here is you just have to answer 4 questions in part D. But if you prepare for all these chapters, you will have 5 choices. So matrix method is normally prone to mistakes. So if you are very confident, then you can go with matrix method. Otherwise, you have 4 other chapters where you can answer. 7th chapter is ratio and proportions. Again, you have 3 1 markers, 1 2 marker and 1 3 marker. Now there is again there is a one-shot revision video on ratio and proportions, which will cover all kinds of problems in one video itself. Same thing with matrices. There is one video which will cover all kinds of problems. Next is binomial theorem. Here you will get in part E 1 4 marker question which is related to decimal expansion. Simple one. If you could just prepare for decimal expansion, I think you can easily get this 4 marks. Next one is bill discounting. So you have 1 2 marker and 1 3 marker. There's a video on all important questions related to bill discounting, both 2 marker and 3 marker. All the previous question paper problems are also put in this particular video. For permutations, you have 3 1 markers, 1 2 marker, 1 3 marker. Again, in permutations, you have one shot video that covers all kinds of problems. Probability. So here you have 1 marker and you have 2 marker. Now there is a one shot video on probability also, one shot revision video. You can refer revision playlist. So you can refer different playlists, right? Very important. One is revision playlist, right? Revision where you have all one shot videos. One shot videos. This is revision playlist. Then you have important questions playlist, right? You have all important questions here. And third, you have question papers, right? All model question papers and previous year question papers are there solved in this particular playlist. So 3 important playlists. And then you have chapter specific playlist also, like partial fractions, mathematical logic, matrices, ratios. So you have chapter specific playlist. In part A, you should be answering 20 questions, but you'll be able to answer 13 questions because calculus is not there, trigonometry is not there. So thereby 7 questions you'll not be able to answer. In part B, you should be answering 6 questions for 2 markers. So with this combination of chapters, you can get 6 questions, 6 choices. And in part C, you should be answering 6 questions again, right? 6 questions, which is actually totaling up to 18 marks. But since with this combination of chapters, you will be able to answer only 4 questions or 4 chapters. In part D, 20 marks, 4 questions of 5 marks each. In part E, you have 1 6 marker and 1 4 marker. If you have to attempt 6 marker, then you have to prepare for other chapters like limits or circles. So to summarize, to get 60 marks package, part E, you have to prepare for binomial theorem. Part D, partial fractions, matrices, learning curve, linear programming, mathematical logic. And in part C, matrices, ratio proportions, bill discounting, permutations. In part B, you have matrices, ratio and proportions, bill discounting, permutations, parabola, and probability. And in part A, parabola, matrices, ratio and proportions, permutations, probability, and mathematical logic. So, if you prepare for all these chapters thoroughly, you should be able to attempt 60 marks questions. Now, let's look at a package where you can attempt 70 plus marks. This is again, this does not include calculus and trigonometry. So, in the earlier package, you had to prepare for 11 chapters for 60 marks. For 70 marks, you need to prepare for 14 chapters, right? 14 chapters. So, you have to prepare for 3 extra chapters to get 70 plus marks. Now, again, the first 11 chapters are the same as in the previous package. You have 3 extra chapters here: stocks and shares, sales tax and value added tax, and circles. So these 3 chapters are extra. So you get 1 3 marker question from stocks and shares, 1 3 marker question from sales tax and VAT, and then 1 question from circles. You have to prepare circles if you have to prepare for 6 marks in part E. And if you have to attempt all 3 markers from part C, then you need stocks and shares and sales tax and value added tax. Now again, this does not include calculus, nor does it include trigonometry. So with this combination of chapters, if you prepare thoroughly, you will be able to prepare for 73 marks out of 80. So here you will be able to answer all questions from part B, part C, part D, part E. Only in part A, so only 13 questions you'll be able to answer. The remaining 7 questions will come from calculus and compound angles. Now to summarize, so in part A you'll have to prepare for binomial theorem, circles. In part D, partial fractions, matrices, learning curve, linear programming, and mathematical logic. In part C, matrices, ratio, bill discounting, permutations, sales tax, stocks and shares. And part B, you have matrices, ratio proportion, bill discounting, permutations, probability, parabola, and probability. In part A, parabola, matrices, ratio, permutations, probability, and mathematical logic. Now let's look at this particular package where you could get 80 of 80 if you include calculus and trigonometry. Basically, the same chapters that we addressed previously, 14 chapters, right? Plus, you will have to prepare for all 1 markers in calculus and trigonometry. From these chapters related to calculus and trigonometry, you will have to prepare for all 1 markers, right? Even if you don't know in depth about calculus topics, you can at least prepare for 1 markers so that you can get entire 20. You can attempt entire 20 questions in part A, right? That is the only difference between 80 marks package and 70 marks package. The difference is you should be able to answer all 1 markers. But everything else like part B, part C, part D, part E is same like 70 marks package. Now one thing, right? So there are multiple playlists in the channel, right? You can refer revision playlist, which has all one-shot videos that will help in revision of chapters. Then second is you have question papers and important questions, right? Solved question papers and important questions. Third is you have second PUC basic maths. This has all the videos from all the chapters, right? And then fourthly, you have playlist for each of the chapters. You can search for playlists. So here's the channel. You have the playlist here, right? Go through the playlist tab. So you have all the blueprints and model question papers of different subjects is there in this particular playlist. There is explanation of second PUC model question paper, right? All the solutions are explained here. Then you have integral calculus, application of derivatives, differential calculus. You have playlist for formulas, right? You can go through formulas of multiple chapters. Then you have ratio proportions. Then you have partial fractions, matrices and determinants. You have all one-shot videos, revision videos here, mathematical logic and heights and distances, right? You have heights and distances. You also have permutations and combinations. Then LPP, mathematical logic, binomial theorem. And then you have here all important questions and previous years solved question papers here. You have limits and continuity. You have parabola. You have compound angles, right? So, and circles, you have revision video and find the equation of circle related problems. Now, we will go through a few important topics. So, first one is partial fractions. This is very easy, right? Straightforward. So, you'll get problems like this. 3x plus 5 by x plus 2 into x minus 1 the whole square. So, this is nothing but repeated factors. So, there are three types, right? Repeated factors, linear factors, right? And then you have fractions with quadratic equations, right? Quadratic equations. You'll have to factorize the quadratic equations and then solve it. You can go through partial fractions playlist. All three types are explained. Next important one from part D is LPP, right? Again, there is a playlist on LPP. It's an easy one. So, question would be maximize, objective function will be given, constraints will be given. We'll have to plot the graph and get the feasible region and find the optimal solution. 3 steps. Find the optimal solution. Next one is mathematical logic. Again, you have 1 marker and 5 marker from part D. This is the most repeated question. Verify whether the proposition is tautology, contradiction, or neither, right? If you get all the values as true, then it is tautology. If you get all the values as false, it is contradiction. If there is a mix, then it is neither, right? Next type of problem is check if it's logically equivalent. So you take each of these propositions and you should get the same truth values. Same truth values for this one and for this one, right? Then it becomes logically equivalent. So frequently asked questions in mathematical logic. From 1 marker, there could be multiple type of questions, but easy ones. They've given the truth value of P, truth value of Q. You have to find the truth value of this entire proposition, right? Then symbolize. So the statement is given. You will have to write it in symbolic form. That is, you can take this as one statement, this as one statement. There is if and then. So it will be this kind of a notation. If 2 numbers are equal, then their squares are not equal. So put not symbol here. So P conditional, not Q. Then next type is write the converse, inverse and contrapositive. Again, easy one. Right? In 1 marker, probably you'll get converse or inverse or contrapositive, but not all. But better to prepare for all, converse, inverse and contrapositive. Then next one is negation, right? You have to learn the negation laws, De Morgan's laws, right? All these laws, simple laws, but you'll have to remember these. Again, there is a playlist on mathematical logic. Next topic is circles. In circles, you get 1 6 marker problem. Majorly, where you have to prove that these particular points are concyclic, right? You'll be given 4 set of points. You will have to prove that these are concyclic, right? So practice this very well. Easy 6 marker and it's very straightforward. So these are just example problems. You can practice all the problems that is there in the textbook. Next one is limits and continuity. Again, this comes in party, right? This comes in party for 6 marker. So here majorly you will have to prove theorems in limits, right? You have 2 theorems. One is to prove that x to the power n minus a to the power n by x minus a is equal to n into a to the power n minus 1 for all rational values of n. This is one theorem. Second theorem is you have to prove that limit theta tending to 0 sine theta by theta is equal to 1. Now one of these 2 theorems will come as a 6 marker problem in limits and continuity. This is easy. If you just know the procedure of how to derive this theorem, it's very easy. There is video on derivation of this theorem. There is video on derivation of this theorem. So if you can learn that, if you can remember the steps, if you can practice the steps, so it's an easy 6 marker. The good thing here is you will not have any mistakes because there's no calculations, there's no formulas, you will not have any mistakes. So you can easily crack 6 marks, provided you understand the derivation and you can remember all the steps. Next chapter is learning curve. Again, 5 marker question in part D. It's important to understand the concepts. There's nothing, no particular question that is important or less important. But there are 2 types of problems you have to remember. In this example, we have 8 water tankers and the first tanker takes 20,000 labor hours. Your units or lots would be 1, 2, 4, 8. You will stop at 8 because you need to find 8 water tankers. So you will stop at 8. Now if you look at this particular example, here you start with 30 engines. This is the first lot. So it will be doubled. Always the lots will be doubled. So you have 30, 60. 60 is double is 120. But here we just need 90. So what you have to do, you have to find for 120 whatever hours you get, right? You subtract hours for 30 engines. Here 30 engines is 6,000. So whatever answer you get for 120 engines, you have to subtract 6,000. And that will be the number of hours. Now let's go through binomial theorem topic. Here you will get one question which is 4 marker from party. So majorly decimal expansion. Majorly decimal expansion is the problem type, right? So you will be given a decimal number like this, like 0.99 to the power 5, and using binomial theorem you have to get the value of 0.99 to the power 5. So you have other examples like 1.02, 98, 1.2. So if you have something like this 98, you have to make it as 100 minus 2. And if you have 1.02, then make it as 1 plus 0.02. Similarly, if you have 1.2, it's 1 plus 0.2. So there is a tips and trick video to expand binomial expression easily, right? And also there is a playlist on binomial theorem. But majorly you can focus on decimal expansion problem type. The next one is matrices and determinants. 13 marks, 3 1 markers, 1 2 marker, 1 3 marker and 1 5 marker. Now 3 markers would be something like this. 2 matrices are given or 3 matrices are given. You have to show that this particular equation is correct, right? Or show that AB complement is equal to B complement into A complement. So these kind of proofs. The other type of problem would be Cramer's rule. Very easy one. Cramer's rule to find the x and y values using Cramer's rule. Then the other type of 3 marker would be you have to prove that this particular equation gives you a null matrix, right? I is an identity matrix and you should get null matrix as the answer. Then 5 marker is straightforward, matrix method, right? This would be a lengthy problem, prone to mistakes during matrix multiplication and finding cofactors. When you find cofactors or adjoint, it's prone to mistakes. So verify your answer when you're solving matrix method. So you can go through a revision video for matrices. You can go through one marker video, right? And there is a playlist with all the details of each of the topics of matrices. Next one is parabola. Very interesting and easy chapter. You will get 2 1 markers and 1 2 marker questions. Questions are of standard type, right? You need to find the focus, length of latus rectum given the equation, or you'll have to find the equation given the axis and the coordinates, or you have to find focus, directress, equation of parabola. There is a playlist on parabola. There is one shot revision video. There are 1 marker videos, right? You can refer all of that. Now next topic is application of definite integrals. Now in this topic you will get 1 marker plus 2 marker plus 3 marker, right? Totally 6 marker. Now there is a separate video on 1 marker, right? You can refer that. For 2 marker you can get any kind of problems like find the area bounded by the curve, right? You have to find the area bounded by the curve and the coordinates like this. And there could be problems related to these kind of expressions also. You have to apply integral on these expressions, x square, 2x plus 1, cosec, secant. So any problem can come from this chapter. Application of derivatives. You will get 1 2 marker and 1 3 marker, totally 5 marker problems from this particular chapter. There is a separate playlist on application of derivatives, right? Where everything is explained in detail. Every subtopic of this particular chapter is explained in detail. There is also a video on important practice questions, right? You can use this, you can go through this video on the important questions. Similarly, for stocks and share, you have video on 3 marker problems. Even for bill discounting, you have a video on important questions for 2 marker and 3 marker. You can refer bill discounting video. Similarly, for differential calculus, you have 1 marker, 2 marker and 5 marker problems. You have a playlist on differential calculus explaining every subtopic in detail. You also have a video on important questions which covers 2 marker, 3 marker, 4 or 5 marker. You can look at this particular video. There is also a separate 1 marker video for differential calculus. Coming to 1 marker questions, you have 1 marker videos on matrices, permutations, probability, compound angles, mathematical logic, ratio and proportion, limits and continuity, differential calculus, application of derivatives, definite integrals, indefinite integrals, right? For each of this there are 1 marker videos. So you go to the channel, go to playlist section and look for important questions playlist. So here you have solved question papers and important questions. This is the playlist. You click on this, you will get this video is about explanation of basic maths model question paper. Then you have all midterm papers. Here you have application of derivatives, important questions. Then you have stocks and shares, 3 markers. You have 1 markers on limits and continuity, stocks and shares, sales tax and value added tax, parabola, learning curve, bill discounting, application of derivatives, mathematical logic, ratio and proportions, indefinite integrals, differential calculus, matrices and determinants, compound angles, probability, circles, permutations, and then you have all the previous year's questions, right? So all the previous year's questions have been put in a particular video for each chapter. So you have sales tax here, stocks and shares, learning curve, bill discounting, compound angles, binomial theorem, circles, limits and continuity, partial fractions, right? These are all previous year's question papers, right? You can just solve them for better practice, right? And then you have all previous year's question papers here. Now if you want to look at the revision videos, right, just search for revision videos playlist. So here you have playlist for revision videos. Click on this. Here you will find revision videos for each of the chapters: linear programming, parabola, limits and continuity, matrices, partial fractions, binomial theorem, circles. Now this is where I was referring to equation of circle related problems, right? This video would help you to understand the equation of circle, and this gives you all different problem type that's there in the book: probability, permutations, combinations, ratio, proportions, all of these. Then you have formulas here, right? Formulas for circles, permutations, parabola, multiple angles, limits and continuity, right? So you can go through this playlist for more information. So with this, we've come to the end of this particular topic. If you have liked this video, do press a like and share it. Thank you.